Are you looking for better shooting experience? How about a facility where you can shoot all of your firearms in the same day, where you can move and shoot steel, draw from the holster, and practice your rifle work out to 600 yards? Shoot a very challenging sporting clays course or a round of trap or skeet. You can do all that and much more at the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, president of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you love the outdoors, you'll want to know all about Northern Illinois' largest outdoor shooting facility, the Aurora Sportsman's Club. If you're a novice looking for a basic course, an experienced shooter looking for an advanced course, or perhaps you want to participate in your favorite shooting event, or just spend an enjoyable day with a family, the Aurora Sportsman's Club is the only shooting facility in the region that offers all that and more. Interested? Then you won't want to miss the next orientation and tour of the Aurora Sportsman's Club. Call, email, or visit our website today to find out how you can become part of a better shooting experience at the Aurora Sportsman's Club in Waterman, Illinois.
He is the human Molotov cocktail that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them.
So we're going to create a new government that serves you, your family, and your country.
It's time for On Target Radio, Chicagoland's only radio show dedicated to the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech. Now, debating, debunking, and discussing today's hot issues, here are your hosts, David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz.
Welcome to On Target Radio. Tonight, David's rant of the week is Social Justice Warriors Take Up Arms, and David and Gretchen will be talking about Michael Bloomberg's Everytown for Gun Safety Group's plan to spend $25 million to stop national concealed carry reciprocity. And the results are in. Eliminating D.C.'s handgun ban had no effect on homicides. In the second segment, our guest will be Coyden Palmer, a journalist with the Chicago Crusader, discussing the Illinois resident who goes to college in and has a concealed carry permit from Alabama and unwittingly ran afoul of Illinois gun laws. Wait until you hear the latest venom spewed from MSNBC encouraging ISIS to bomb the Trump Tower. And finally, someone is trying to hold George Soros accountable for his political activism. All that and more on tonight's On Target Radio. So give us a call at 815-205-1584. That's 815-205-1584. Or go to Facebook, like our page On Target Radio, and ask a question or make a comment there.
Today's Rant of the Week and more of David's work can be found at bearingarms.com. And now, from the seething cauldron of personal opinion, it's David's Rant of the Week.
Don't be lulled into believing social justice warriors are fools. Granted, there's an almost comedic aura that surrounds some facets of their agenda. Case in point, their intent to disrupt the upcoming NRA convention in Atlanta. What better target than an NRA convention with President Trump topping the list of speakers? As Bob Owens points out in his recent article, World's Lamest Gun Control Group to Disrupt NRA Convention, the event is being targeted by two anti-gun groups, Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and Everytown for Gun Safety. Both are heavily funded by New York's ex-Airsats Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who unyieldingly proves money can't buy credibility. The most consistent message both groups convey is irrelevance, as the media strives to find camera angles that make it appear their demonstrations draw crowds larger than the viewing audience of the short-lived Joy Behar show. Little wonder, as Shannon Watts, founder of Moms Demand Action, commands so little credibility that the attendance at past protests made it impossible for even the liberal news media to make them look impressive. The problem is far too many conservatives don't take social justice warriors seriously, and they do so at their own peril. Last March, Obama's former Attorney General Loretta Lynch laid the cards on the table. In a video published on the Senate Democrats' Facebook page and called Words of Inspiration, Lynch plainly spoke of sedition, calling for open warfare against conservatives. Open warfare, as in people getting killed, open warfare. In her best ISIS-like rhetoric, she assured listeners that dying for the cause was reasonable. Quote, "I know that this is difficult, but I remind you that this has never been easy," she said. "We have always had to work to move this country forward to achieve the great ideals of our founding fathers. It is individuals who have banded together, ordinary people who simply saw what needed to be done, came together and supported those ideals which have made the difference. They've marched, they've bled, yes, some of them have died. This is hard. Every good thing is. We have done this before. We can do this again." Lynch's message is a far cry from Bloomberg-paid operatives running bogus groups with names crafted by marketing teams. Lynch is calling for insurrection against a legitimately elected president, and a key element is disarming John Q. Public. It's tough to subjugate a populace consisting of individuals holding sophisticated weaponry, hence the battle for gun control. The one thing Bloomberg knows for sure is if you say it often enough and loud enough, it becomes truth. To that end, his shill organizations, supported by the media, keep anti-gun rhetoric on the front page, above the fold, in your local newspaper, and on television news. Until recently, that plan of action has mostly been fodder for conservative Facebook memes, but change is in the wind, and it isn't for the better. Last week's dust-up at Berkeley saw more than one social justice warrior end up with a bloody nose, as Trump supporters decided they'd been pushed around enough and fought back. In my opinion, it's about time the good guys hold the bad guys accountable for their actions. While it was comforting to watch snowflakes dissolve in the heat of conservative resistance, it did serve to raise the awareness of social justice warriors on the value of training and resolve. The irony is suddenly the anti-Second Amendment crowd is talking about owning a firearm and getting training, which brings me to the point. For the most part, I've stayed away from politics as a firearm instructor. I think the time has come to weave some politics into classes to weed out those who are having knee-jerk reactions. I have no desire to teach social justice warriors how to shoot. Having said that, let's be realistic about the actual threat. Certainly, snowflakes packing heat raises the ante, but it's a matter of perspective. The good guys account for about 400 million legally owned firearms and have a substantially higher percentage of members who have experience in the military, law enforcement, or both. Many of them are active in training and practicing personal protection techniques. If you currently don't have a concealed carry permit, get one and start practicing. The good news is effective gun handling and tactics are acquired skills. Those who would start from scratch have a steep learning curve ahead. But it would be a miscalculation to think of them as fools. And that, Gretchen, is my rant for the week.
When you said the part about these snowflakes are now thinking about buying guns and learning how to use them, that was my first thought was no. We're not teaching
snowflakes
them in our classes.
No.
Well, that one time there was a guy who was kind of like
second row right side.
Yeah, he was probably like, I would describe him as maybe a step left of center. You know, he probably wasn't that far down the continuum.
But he wrote a critique.
I know, and but even in class that day, because of what he said, I said, "That's it, we're done. Just pack it up, shut down Safer USA. If this is the type of student we're down to, we don't need to be here anymore."
Well, maybe a little injection of politics, without going over the top. Maybe a little injection of politics to see if anybody goes, "That's stupid. Get out of my class. Go away."
It's like, well, you don't have to stay.
Bloomberg. Oh, give us a call, 815-205-1584, 815-205-1584. Our guest, Jason Palmer, will be coming up in the next segment, and we got an interesting case that we're going to talk about a young man who got mixed up in gun laws here in Illinois. But Bloomberg's at it again. There's a real shocker.
Yeah. Tell me something I don't know.
Exactly. Could you believe that? Every town is pledging $25 million specifically to combat concealed carry reciprocity. They are targeting that, and they're actually going to states. They've always sort of looked at the national level. Now they're actually homing in on states and getting legislators turned over, their seats. $25 million is a big chunk of change.
What I found disturbing about this article is that one of these people that they just hired to work for them has been working for Republicans. A man by the name of Kirk Fordham. He has been the legislative director and deputy chief of staff for Senator Inhofe from Oklahoma, and he's been the finance director for Senator Mel Martinez, a Republican from Florida. So I find that a little disturbing. Either he's been a mercenary up until now, or he's a
whore.
Right, or they hired a Republican to work for Everytown.
Well, the point is he is willing to do it. So he doesn't have ideological connection.
Apparently not.
No, he's a whore. Interesting thing came out. It's amazing how fast first segment goes when I blather on for 4 minutes. But interesting little bit of research came out that you remember when D.C. got slapped down about they can't prevent people from owning firearms.
Heller.
The famous quote from the mayor at the time, basically, it was Adrian Fenty. Yeah, that was it. Said it talked about how more guns like that are going to cause rise in violent crime and murders and stuff. Well, it turns out zero effect. Being allowed to own a firearm has had no effect on homicides at all. So much for those pearls of wisdom.
Yeah, I would hope to see it go the other way, that it actually made crime go down, because it makes some of the less committed criminals think twice about what they're planning to do. But apparently it really has not been statistically significant.
No, but the important thing is, we know, I mean, research has shown over the years that sometimes it has no effect, which is better than negative, which is what they always say. All right, we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to have C. Coyden Palmer on with us. He's a writer for Chicago Crusader, and we're going to talk about an interesting case. All that and more when we return with more On Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invite you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
Do you dread writing? Is it challenging to find just the right words to get your point across? Do you put off developing marketing materials because you just don't know where to start? You get one chance to make a first impression, and my editor, Creative Business Services, can help make it a strong, positive one. Hi, this is Gretchen Fritz, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to tell you about My Editor, a business I started to help you overcome those concerns. What you're experiencing is very common. My Editor has helped business owners, candidates for political office, and even authors and public speakers. At My Editor Creative Business Services, we can simply edit your existing work or help you develop an entire writing plan of action from initial project design through final copy. We are easy to work with and will help you get your point across in the most effective manner. If words escape you, send me an email at myeditor@mail.com. Use My Editor Creative Business Services and go to print with confidence. That's myeditor@mail.com, or find us on Facebook.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
This segment is brought to you by the Will County Grassroots Division of the Illinois State Rifle Association. Join like-minded friends supporting the right to keep and bear arms in Illinois at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month at the Silver Dollar Restaurant in Elwood, Illinois.
So we got a guest that's going to be on this evening. If I can figure out how to unmute this thing, we'll be in great shape. Our guest this evening is J. Coyden Palmer. He was born and raised in Chatham on the Chicago South Side and is a graduate of Chicago State University.
All right, Puppy.
All right.
Yeah.
There you are. You're on. Jason's been a reporter.
Are you going through the security thing now? Are you going through the security thing now?
Is he what?
Are you going to wait? Yeah,
Can you hear me, Jason?
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Hello?
You know, you can go if you want.
Mute him. He's talking to somebody else.
He's muted.
Thank you.
I think he hears us. Jason?
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just about to introduce you.
I'm doing great. Perfect timing.
I'm just about to introduce you. So you were born and raised in Chatham on Chicago South Side and graduated from Chicago State University. Right. And you've been a reporter for 17 years. But used to write for Chicago Citizen newspaper and now the Crusader. But it's what you wrote this week, that piece in the Crusader about Jamal Jackson, the Indiana college student, which you want to talk about tonight because this poor guy has really kind of got caught in the middle. You want to explain it a little bit?
Sure. So the case about Jamal Jackson, and you excuse me, I am at lovely Midway Airport, so my signal may not be as good. But the case about Jamal Jackson is an interesting one, David, because it can happen to pretty much anybody. Jamal Jackson is a young guy born and raised on the south side of Chicago, moved to Selma, Alabama about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and he's a college student at Selma University. So in Alabama, they have open carry, but they also have concealed carry. But if you want to have open carry, you do not need a concealed carry license. If you want to do concealed carry in Alabama, you must have a license. But their Senate just voted to get rid of that portion of it probably about 2 weeks ago. So basically what happened was Jamal Jackson came back to Chicago to visit his children and the mother of his child back in March. And he got a vehicle and took it in the house with him. He didn't want to leave the weapon in the car because this incident took place on 70th in Michigan. A lot of times people are breaking in cars. So he thought he was doing a responsible thing by taking the gun with him in the house as opposed to leaving it in the car. Someone steal it.
And the girl's mother's okay with this.
Was he and the mother of his child got into a loud argument. Another relative that was in the house decided to call the police department, and the police came into the house through an unlocked screen door, immediately went to Mr. Jackson, went to search him for their safety. He tells them, hey, I have my weapon on me. I keep it on me while I'm here in the house, and I don't want my kids to be able to get with it. So he told on them. They confiscate the weapon from him, asked the mother of his child and other people there, did he ever threaten anybody? Everybody said nobody wants to have him prosecuted. You know, they were just an argument. It was like a disturbance of the peace type thing. They couldn't understand why they placed him into custody and took him down to Area 2 is where he was actually at. He's now been charged with and he spent 2.5 weeks in Cook County Jail. He's currently out on bond and does have a court case tomorrow.
The thing about this that's interesting is, first of all, the girl's mother, whose house where they were at, she knows he has the gun. She has no problem with him bringing the gun in. The state law says they can go into your house as long as you say it's okay. Apparently, the wrinkle is going between the car and the house.
No, I think it's anywhere in Illinois you have to have FOID. Well, his legal residence is Alabama, so he can't get a FOID. That's the wrinkle.
He can have it in the car under federal law.
It has to be unloaded, though.
And even under Illinois, well, if he had a concealed carry, he could be carrying it. According to Illinois law, it allows that. You can carry it, but you can't get out of the car with it.
Right.
So what's happening now? The poor guy can't afford the attorney, and we're looking to try and find an attorney that would take the case pro bono. Is he out now?
We actually lost him. It sounded like he was having some cell phone signal problems. So
we did indeed. He dropped right off the air, didn't he? Well, that was a momentous moment.
I think the article says that he is out.
He is out, so he finally got out.
He sat in jail for a while. It says he spent 3 weeks in Cook County Jail because they were trying to raise the bond.
Yeah, so I read this article, and I sent a thing to the Crusader, and I said, I don't know if it would be appropriate, but if you find an attorney, I would work as an expert for nothing. I do it pro bono. But they need to find an attorney to help this poor kid out.
Right.
This is a classic example of why we need a national law.
Yeah.
It just needs to be this patchwork quilt of stuff. If you read the law about it says it's okay if the person who owns a home says it's okay. If you read that at first glance, you go, well, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
In pretty much every state that I'm aware of, you can have a gun on private property. It's your right to have a gun on private property. And if the owner of the property, it's not yours, but they give you permission, then typically that is the case. But Illinois is special because we're one of only 2 states that have something like, we call it FOID.
Right.
Massachusetts doesn't call it FOID, but it's essentially the same thing.
It's $150.
Right. Theirs is a lot more expensive. But so Illinois is really 1 out of 50 that has this little
quirk,
extra layer of,
But the interesting thing is, if you're a hunter, you can come to Illinois with a firearm as a hunter.
Mm-hmm. Which I'm not sure how that works out.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But then, is there anything in this whole firearm thing in Illinois make sense?
Not a lot. No. Not a lot. I mean, especially with the concealed carry law, a lot of the places where you really need a concealed firearm, you're not supposed to have it.
He's back.
Like Cook County Forest Preserves.
Are you back, Jason? Hello?
Dave?
Yeah, you there?
Back again. All right. I told you that technology at the airport.
Sorry about that. We were just going over sort of the specifics of it, about the mother said it's fine for me to be in the house and all. Have you had any luck finding an attorney for him? Have you had any luck finding electronics at work?
Yeah, so his court date is tomorrow.
Oh, geez.
He has another court date. I think this was just a preliminary hearing. But the thing that Mr. Jackson is thinking is basically that, he just made an honest mistake, that he's not a violent criminal, and that the laws in Illinois and pretty much around the country, it's like a quilt. You go from one state, this is legal. You go to another state, it's illegal. And basically, this is a guy who just kind of got confused on the law itself. He's not a violent guy. None of the people in the house wanted to press any type of charges against him. So he's kind of like a victim of the laws themselves, where they're just not clear for a lot of people. And a lot of people are getting confused. So that's basically kind of where he is with this. But this is a guy who comes from a family that doesn't have a lot of financial means. So he's already out $5,000 on his bond itself, and he's looking at probably another, I think maybe $7,000, $8,000 if he gets a private lawyer to try to fight this case.
One of the interesting things about the law in Illinois, if you're a concealed carry holder, if you have an Illinois concealed carry permit, and you go somewhere where you're not supposed to carry concealed, the first offense is a misdemeanor. It's basically a slap on the back of the hand, which this isn't exactly that, but you would think that they should be able to, they'll just let them say, don't do that again.
Yeah, they charged him with a Class 4 felony, which is, as Jay was trying to say.
So I did have a little bit of trouble hearing your question, but it sounds like you were talking about constitutional carry. Is that correct?
Well, not constitutional, state of Illinois law. State of Illinois law simply says that if you hold an Illinois concealed carry permit, which he doesn't, but just to show what they thought, if you hold a state of Illinois concealed carry permit and you go into a place where you're not allowed to have a concealed firearm, in other words, it's placarded, the first offense is a misdemeanor. Now, I know this isn't exactly that situation, but you would think that this would be like, don't do that, and they slap him on the back of the hand and go home. You'd think. But it's Illinois.
Right. So, so he does not have a concealed carry permit from Alabama, because when he's down there, he says he does open carry, and he never even applied for the concealed carry. Another thing he said was that they know that down there in Alabama, they're getting ready to get rid of the requirement for you to have a license just to carry concealed. So he explained to me when I kind of talked to him, that was one of the reasons why he did not have a concealed carry license from Alabama. But yes, I understand your point exactly. And once again, I think that's another example of these quote like patch, laws going from state to state. And, people saying, well, okay, I got a license in this state. Does this mean I can carry in this state? Or what does this mean with do I have to keep the weapon in my car? And I just know Illinois' law is very, it's very confusing. It's very restrictive, as we all know. So, it's going to end up, unfortunately, he's going to have to go to court and try to hammer this thing out. I do think that State's Attorney Kim Foxx should consider perhaps using her prosecutorial discretion on this particular case. Because, let's face it, there's a lot of gun crimes in Chicago, and we have a lot of violent crime in Chicago. But I don't think the community or the citizens of the state of Illinois, for that matter, are for her to be prosecuting college students who just made a mistake. This guy is not a violent criminal. He has no history whatsoever of violence. The most he had was an arrest from years back for possession of marijuana, which if he got arrested in 2017, they would have merely wrote him a ticket and he'd have been gone out of his way or gone on about his way. So I think, this is a case where, they really need to look at this, because if we're prosecuting people for minor stuff like this is a mistake that anybody can make.
All right, well, we appreciate you calling.
And I don't think Illinois wants to be known as a state where, if you come here and you make a mistake on one of our own confusing laws, you could find yourself with a felony on your record, because that's what they charge this guy with, a felony.
Yeah, Jason, we're going to have to take a break, so we appreciate you calling in, and we'll have to do more together in the future. We're happy to know that you are a listener. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. The interesting thing about this, Gretchen, is the Chicago Police Department and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office didn't want to press charges. They don't want to press charges, and yet what's happened is some prosecutor just decided he's going to prosecute him anyway. I find that particularly of interest. So anyway, all that. What am I going to do? We're looking for an attorney for the poor guy, if we can find one. When we come back, we're going to talk about MSNBC, even more over the top, more than ever before. This is totally insane. All that and more when we return with more on Target Radio. Hi, I'm David Lombardo, co-host of On Target Radio, and I'd like to offer you a partnership opportunity. For over 4 years, On Target Radio covered the red meat issues that affect your life, from gun control to freedom of speech, on AM 560 The Answer. But a 1-minute commercial was $200, making it tough to find enough sponsors. So last November, we left AM 560 and began podcasting. There's a learning curve to podcasting, and we've worked through the kinks and would now like to make you an offer. You can have a 60-second audio or video commercial for as little as $25 a week. We can also offer fellow conservatives their own radio or video podcast for as little as $100 a week, with equipment and technical personnel included. You provide the content and host, plus get 6 free minutes of commercial time you can sell yourself. If you'd like to be an On Target Radio sponsor or explore the possibility of having your own show, call me at 815-741-3474, and let's explore the possibilities together.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
I think holding me to the facts is really pushing it. You know what I'm saying?
I know. It's just a librarian in me. I know. I can't.
I don't know.
I can't hold myself back.
We're going to hone that down, though, with MSNBC. Now, I don't think anybody thinks of MSNBC as friendly.
Bastion of truth?
Yeah, no, I think
really.
that's probably gone.
The network that had Melissa Harris Perry on there? No, definitely not.
Rachel Maddow is my personal favorite.
Right, and
that
Rachel
smirky
Maddow.
look. Yeah,
Yes.
you want to just punch her? Or
Yeah,
what?
and Mika Brzezinski.
Yeah,
She's the brain trust.
But here's got to be even over the top for MSNBC. Yeah. There's a guy named Malcolm Nance. He's a former Navy officer, which makes me want to throw up that this guy would do this. He's supposedly an expert in counterterrorism and radical Islam. Do you want to tell him? You want to read this? It's
Sure.
It's unbelievable what he texted or
Sure. So he tweeted.
Yeah.
This is my nominee for first ISIS suicide bombing of a Trump property, Trump Tower, Istanbul. After seeing Trump's congrats to Erdogan for winning his rigged election, I'm worried our FP is directed by property. So yeah, it was only up for a few minutes, and then
Well, he realized he screwed
people
up.
started commenting, and he deleted it.
But seriously, would you 10 years, 5 years ago, would you believe that like it or not, they're a major news organization on,
Sure.
I mean, it's not like us sitting here, that they would call for ISIS to bomb a public building, a hotel.
I mean, this guy, he's probably not even well, I don't even know if he's an actual employee. He's a contributor. So, yeah, he's just gone rogue. But the funny thing is that this isn't the first time he said something really, really stupid. They've got a couple of instances, actually. The Washington Free Beacon said that first of all, they call into question his relevance as an expert on terrorism and Islam, but they pointed out that he said, I will go so far as to say Donald Trump is the ISIS candidate.
I don't know how they get it. Well, and you know what? Then they excoriate Trump for saying that they make fake news.
Right. Everybody's mad that he keeps saying that.
Yeah.
But then they say things like this. And then he also nodded along back in 2016 when MSNBC host Thomas Roberts said that the Nice truck killer, the guy who drove a truck into a crowd, was just a mentally ill person who took a moment to challenge society in a horrific way. I'm sorry, what?
He was. Somebody said to him about the thing that prompted his comment about Trump Tower was apparently Trump called Turkey's President Erdogan, or however he pronounces it, who'd just been been given more power, which I don't think is a particularly good thing.
Well,
but
the writer of this article from Constitution.com doesn't say that we can confirm that he actually did call the president of Turkey.
Exactly. That's supposedly what happened.
Right, and we don't know that.
Yeah. But you don't need to know that to suggest that ISIS bombs his Trump Tower.
No, I think it's wrong either way. I mean, even if he did call the president of Turkey, I doubt that he did. But even if he did, it's totally uncalled for.
I'm not so sure, and I get the guy's a despot, and they've just given him powers to basically be a dictator. But and I get that's a problem. But at the same time, this is the president of the United States. He's going to have to work with these guys.
Right.
He's got to have some interaction with them. So I don't know that I would suggest that it was that bad of a thing. I mean, you call a guy up and you go, hey, I heard you got, now you're a dictator. So let me.
Yeah. Unless that is really what he said, then I would say you don't need to make that call. To me, the worst one, because this was the actual AP, Associated Press, which is, I mean, it used to be that every news outlet got their information from AP. You would get your news off the wire and you'd rewrite it,
we
right?
We get a lot of AP. We read a lot of AP.
Right, exactly. So I find this horrific that the guy, Corey Ali Muhammad, out in Fresno, California, he shot 5 people. 4 of them died. And he shouted Allahu Akbar, but AP reported that he shouted God is great.
Right, which is correct in terms of translation, but it takes the whole tone of what the situation was away.
It strips the context out.
Oh, it's a Catholic guy went on a rampage, I mean,
Catholic guy with the name Muhammad.
Yeah, well, come on, let's not get bogged down in needless detail.
It's pretty common. It's a pretty common name in the Catholic Church.
It's
right up there with Mary and Rita.
we mutter that as we kneel and pray to the saints.
Call me Muhammad.
Call me. Well, I used to say call me Ishmael, but nobody got the joke.
Yeah.
Except a whale once did. I don't know. Give us a call, 312. I'm sorry, 8. And George would be sitting.
What do they call that? Latent memory.
Exactly. George would be sitting at AM 560 going, these guys haven't been on this show for 6 months. Yeah.
There's nobody there. I don't think anybody's there.
I don't know. 815-205-1584. 815-205-1584. College students. This is some dippy little Pomona College in California. But they sent a letter to outgoing President David Oxtoby that, listen to this now, that the truth is a myth and white supremacist concept. Truth is a white supremacist concept. And that they said that after the outgoing president reaffirmed the college's commitment to free speech, which in and of itself is like a miracle that a college president would say that.
I find it sad that we have to express our commitment to free speech.
It's insane.
That whole part kind of makes me a little sad.
It is totally insane. And it says, these self-identified black students wrote the letter to Oxtoby, sent an email in April that reiterated, quote, the exercise of free speech and academic freedom after protesters blocked the exit. It was a speaker, Heather McDonald, was going to talk. She was a critic of Black Lives Matter, right? Mm-hmm. So they wrote this email, and I'm not even sure what this says.
It's really funny.
Yes, this is what they wrote, okay? Quote, historically, white supremacy has venerated the ideal of objectivity and wielded a dichotomy of subjectivity versus objectivity as a means of silencing oppressed peoples. The idea that there is a single truth, the truth, is a construct of the Euro-West that is deeply rooted in the Enlightenment, which was a movement that also described black and brown people as both subhuman and impervious to pain. This construction is a myth, and white supremacy, imperialism, colonialism, capitalism, and the United States of America are all of its progeny. The idea that the truth is an entity for which we must search in matters that endanger our abilities to exist in open spaces is an attempt to silence oppressed peoples. Now, do you have any clue what the hell that means?
When I read that, I was like, wow.
You're the editor.
They spent some time on that.
Those are big words.
They spent some time on that.
They didn't use photosynthesis anywhere.
I wonder. No, they didn't.
No,
I wonder if they put that much effort into their college courses and papers.
They probably don't go to classes.
Yeah, I'm guessing all of their energy was put towards that little masterpiece.
So, after claiming that students were right to attempt to silence McDonald, whom they labeled a fascist, a white supremacist, a warhawk, transphobe, queerphobe, classicist, and ignorant of interlocking systems of domination that produce the lethal conditions under which oppressed peoples are forced to live. I'm not sure what that means either. The students demanded that Oxtoby apologize for email promoting free speech, to which Oxtoby said, "What? No, I don't."
I think to which Oxtoby said, "I'm out of here."
This is outgoing. The key word in this is outgoing. Right? I don't even know what you say about something like that. These people have so lost touch with reality. They're so far over the edge.
Yeah, the person that they were protesting is Heather McDonald, and if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves, she works for a newspaper, but I think she's also a consultant for Heritage Foundation. She's part
I didn't recognize her name.
She's part of their think tank.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So, and we talked about one of her articles several months ago. Basically saying why she dissected the statistics of why more black people are getting shot than white people by police, and et cetera, et cetera. And she broke down the statistics, and these are the types of things that these people are protesting. Yeah, it's really like I'm pretty impressed, actually. As an editor, I have to say, that's more intellectual than most of what I hear coming out of the left. So
That's true.
I'm not wearing a hat. My hat is off to you.
But it obfuscates the fact that they're not bald.
That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, it's completely crazy. They're just really good at stringing words together.
What was the point of it? I don't understand what they were,
They're trying to verbally bludgeon the president into submission.
And he doesn't care. He's going away.
He's like,
leaving.
I'm retiring. I don't give a crap.
Desk is packed. I'm going out the door.
Yeah.
A long waft these words following you down the hallway, and he's just laughing.
He's like,
yeah, I got my severance pay. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But the notion,
he's like, bye, Felicia.
the notion that if you distill all this crap down into sort of a sludgy thing that's left, okay, the basic notion here is truth is wrong.
Truth is a white supremacist social construct.
Exactly. That it is what it is. It's wrong. It's holding people back.
It's oppressing them.
Yeah. Maybe it's because I'm white. I have a little hard time dealing with the fact that truth is bad. Yes, Miss Fritz?
Yeah, the most significant person that I can think of who spoke about truth was Jesus, and he was Jewish. So I'm not really sure how they got to white supremacy. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, if you think about it, when they're throwing terms around that they don't really understand.
Well, no.
Like when they talk about fascists, and they don't actually understand what those words mean. This is a lot like the thing you put on my Facebook page about I like to use...
Hold my beer?
No,
not that one.
Not that one. The one about I like to use big words so people...
will think I'm photosynthesis.
Photosynthesis. I like to use big words so people think I'm photosynthesis. I mean, that's what this is. These are children who have gone to a dictionary and picked up a bunch of words and strung them together, and it has no frickin' meaning. I don't know how you.
But like I said, my hat's off to their creativity and their ability to string words together. I mean, just this one. Ignorant of interlocking systems of domination that produce the lethal conditions under which oppressed peoples are forced to live. That's masterful. That right there. I mean, I read some crap. I'm an editor. I read some crap every day. That's masterful.
There's a line in Blazing Saddles. I wish I had it with me. About my mind is a raving torrent of whatever. You remember that line?
Vaguely, I do vaguely remember that.
And that's what this is. It's a cascade of quasi-intellectual crap.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, we will come back with more quasi-intellectual crap after a few messages. Can I say that, George? Probably I can. After a few messages, we'll be back with more on Target Radio.
Safer USA, Chicago's most trusted name in firearm training, is offering beginners classes, tactical pistol and rifle, long-range rifle to 600 yards, and the most comprehensive Illinois concealed carry program available. The On Target Radio co-hosts David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz will prepare you to carry a firearm for personal protection, including firearm, holster, and ammunition selection. A comprehensive law review designed to keep you out of trouble and even how to deal with home invasions. Firearm, ammunition, holster, class notebook, and lunch are provided. Safer USA and the Aurora Sportsman's Club invites you to participate in this one-of-a-kind Illinois concealed carry program that also qualifies you for Florida, Utah, and Arizona non-resident permits. Find out what over 6,000 students already know at saferusa.com.
Or call 815-741-3474. That's 815-741-3474. Safer USA. Choosing to own a firearm is your business. Teaching you to own it responsibly is ours.
In need of a ride to O'Hare or Midway Airport? Well, look no further. The Yellow Checker Cab Company is the cab company for you. With the Yellow Checker Cab Company, you will always be greeted by a friendly face and arrive safely and on time for your flight. Start your trip off right by taking advantage of one of their limos, shuttle vans, cabs, or courtesy cars. And airport trips are not all they specialize in. This 24-hour cab service will pick you up anytime, any day, for any occasion. From bachelorette parties to school dances to just a night out with friends. Yellow Checker Cab Company has the best rates in town. So sit back, relax, and leave the driving to the professionals. Once you experience their fast and affordable cab service, you'll be a customer for life. When it comes to cab companies, be sure to choose Yellow Checker Cab because you have the right to expect certain things from your cab company. For further information or to book your trip today, call 815-744-2900. That's 815-744-2900.
You're listening to On Target Radio with David Lombardo and Gretchen Fritz. Here's David and Gretchen with more interesting conversation on gun control, concealed carry, freedom of speech, and other red meat issues that affect your life.
Our faithful listener Raymond actually messaged us on Facebook, and he said they've simply expressed the pre-Enlightenment justification for tyranny, because we were talking about the college students, the Black Lives Matter college students in California.
Stand by. Here's Gretchen with your action items for the week.
From the NRA, the Illinois Senate is scheduled to consider onerous gun dealer licensing legislation, SB 1657, on Tuesday. Please contact your state senator right away and urge them to vote against SB 1657 if it should come to a vote. I put this with more details on our Facebook page earlier today. I also put an alert about the companion House Bill 2541 on Facebook yesterday. So same thing, gun dealer licensing is coming up in both the House and the Senate in Illinois. The following Safer USA classes are at our facility in Waterman. Saturday, April 29th, Tactical Pistol 1 and 2, taught by David. Saturday and Sunday, May 6th and 7th, Illinois Concealed Carry 1. This 16-hour class will be taught by David and Gretchen and meets the training requirements for Illinois Concealed Carry as well as Florida, Arizona, and Utah. Saturday, May 6th, Long Range Rifle, taught by Ed Janka. To sign up for classes, go to saferusa.com and click on Register.
I think there might be just a couple openings left in the tactical pistol. It's pretty close to being full.
Good.
So that's next weekend. It will probably snow or something. I have no idea what will happen next weekend. But there are a couple seats still open. So when there are no seats, you don't sit in that.
No.
You run around and shoot stuff.
No, it's not really running.
You walk around and shoot stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. You shoot stuff.
Stand around and shoot stuff.
Somebody's finally going after George Soros. I find it a little disheartening, and maybe there's some sort of strategy to this. They're going after Soros and what he's doing in Macedonia. I would prefer they go after what he's doing in the United States.
Well, that would be good.
But I don't know. Maybe they've got some sort of logic to that. And there's not a whole lot to talk about this other than the fact that he has managed to get the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, to fork out millions of dollars. See, the interesting thing here, this guy's a multi-billionaire, and he's still using our money.
Yeah,
okay?
What the heck?
Yeah, which is probably why he's a multi-billionaire, because he doesn't use his money. But they forked out millions of dollars, this U.S. Agency for International Development, essentially destabilize the government in Macedonia. That's basically, it's a democratically elected government, it's a conservative government, and he's got them, one of the things they paid to translate Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals so that everybody in Macedonia, all the liberals, could read it and follow the playbook. Which, if I were going to do that, I probably would have done the same thing. It's a smart move.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But this guy, we've said this before, and I'm not preaching this. I'm just saying casually that it surprises me that nobody has fixed his clock. Really. I mean,
well, as we've mentioned before, and it really is a sad situation, is that doing illegal things to achieve your goals is only something that the left does. Conservatives generally don't break the law.
We've had one or two. But,
in general, we don't feel that any means justify,
which is why we keep losing everything.
Any means, right? Yeah. And I've told you there's a satirical Christian song that talks about somebody blowing up an abortion clinic,
right?
But that's really few and far between. I mean, really, those incidents actually happening committed by conservatives very rare.
You don't find a whole lot of, let's say, conservative Christians rioting and burning Starbucks. I don't know. I've got to think of, what would be a good liberal place to burn. And I'm not suggesting to burn Starbucks, but I'm just thinking if I were a conservative mob, what would I go for? I certainly wouldn't, go for
Starbucks, Sonic, Chipotle.
Yeah. When's the last time
Panera.
that happened? Never.
Yeah. Let me think about that. Never.
Yeah. And we had a piece I was going to do last week, but then other stuff was more important. I didn't do it. You got Democratic members in Congress who run prostitution rings. It's true. Now, Barney Frank wasn't doing it, but his boyfriend who was living with him was running a hooker thing out of Frank's apartment in D.C., for God's sake. And he goes, well, I didn't know that. How can you live with some guy and obviously doing it, okay? I mean, that's a close relationship. How can you not notice he's running hookers out of your apartment?
I'm not really sure.
And then there's a guy in Congress now who's a pedophile. Well, one that we know of.
Yeah, I was going to say there's been a number of those.
Right. And I'm not saying no Republican has ever crossed the line. But it's like Democrats just do it as a matter of course. They just, the end justifies the means. That's all they care about. Rig an election, all that. They don't care. Doesn't matter. This is what it takes. I think Hillary Clinton was less PO'd about losing the presidency and more PO'd about they beat her at her game.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
She was so smugly self-assured that she was going to win that I think she was pissed that we just undermined her whole effort.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I mean, I think same thing with Bruce Rauner. I mean, we've talked about this before, that he basically said, okay, we can assume that at least 5 to 10% of the vote is going to be fraudulent for the Democrat, for Pat Quinn. So we need to have an extra 10% cushion built in order to overcome the vote fraud that we expect to happen.
Right.
That's disgusting.
And that's what it took him. It took him
that was right. And he, I mean, it wasn't like a squeak, but I mean, he just got enough to overcome that. And yeah, I mean, it's disgusting.
And then there were all those machines that you would vote for a Republican and it just registered the Democrat.
It would switch
just switched it.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is why do we let him get away with it?
Well, I think we're trying not to. I mean, I
think we're failing at the trying not to part.
Well, look who's in the White House.
True
look
enough.
who's in Congress.
True enough.
I think we're doing a better job in the last couple of years.
But it was pretty close.
I mean, Obama lost every midterm election that happened.
And still they followed
president.
him like a lemming off a cliff.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I read this headline and I had to go look it up because I didn't have a chance to read the article, but I saw this headline in my inbox and I wanted to pull it up. It says, in a hypothetical redo of the 2016 election, Trump further eviscerates Clinton.
It's a nice headline.
It says that, let me see if I can find the kernel here. It says it's just a poll that if the election were held today, Trump may have even had a greater margin than he did against Hillary Clinton.
Well, every time they did a recount, with I think one exception, if I recall, I think there was one exception that the Democrat picked up more, but I think pretty much every recount they did, Trump kept gaining votes.
Yeah.
And they just...
Or like she got some, but he got some too.
Yeah,
like it didn't really change the outcome.
And it just astounds me that Nancy Pelosi says, I don't see anything wrong with our platform. They are blaming everybody and everything except Hillary Clinton,
right?
Who managed to defeat herself. She was a psycho, and even Democrats would say that. Well, I know she's crazy, but she should be the first woman president. Oh, well, that's a good reason.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, if it were Condoleezza Rice, I bet they wouldn't say that.
No.
Yeah, well, I know she's brilliant and she's talented and she knows everything, but
she's a Republican. So
she's a Republican, yeah. So she's not a woman, which is interesting because now people can be anything they want, and I think Condoleezza Rice wants to be a woman.
I think she self-identifies as a female. Yes.
Yes, and so I'm guessing that that's okay, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
No, I think if you're a Republican, it's like Bizarro World and everything is backwards.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
That's sort of the sense that I get.
So my hope is that Bloomberg and Soros will be in Trump Tower in Turkey, and
I was just thinking of what is that joke that car full of Muslim people gets like plowed into by a dump truck?
The guy. There's a guy, it's early morning driving his car, and he comes up to a light, and it's red, and he goes, there's nobody coming in any direction. I'm just going to go right through. What the heck? What have I got to lose? And at that moment, along comes this car dragging a burning American flag with, Sharia law or bust, and all these young Muslim, with the head, the whole bit, the radicals.
They're all screaming, death to America.
Death to America, giving the guy a finger and all that. And they speed up, and the guy slams on the brakes when they get scared. And they speed up, and they go through the intersection to get T-boned by a truck. Blows up, kills all of them instantly. And the guy's sitting at the light, and he's going, oh, my God, that could have been me. He's just, shaking and shaking. He says, oh, my God, that could have been me. And he went home, and he just worried about it all night, and the next day went out and got a job as a truck driver, which I think is, probably going to get hate mail now. Maybe I'll get a death threat finally.
I don't know that our listenership is of that
probably not. Yeah.
Frame of mind to dislike your Muslim joke.
That's the first time I think we've ever told a joke on the show.
No, I'm sure it's not.
No, I'm not talking about me as a joke. I'm talking about actually telling a joke. Well, I've told a couple of Irish jokes.
I'm sure you have. We talk about Facebook memes and stuff.
That's true. It's
kind of a joke.
It's not all that bad. I don't know. We get
what I can't find in this article is who did the poll that says that Hillary would have lost even worse this time. So that's my only problem. I'm
I think
actively,
it was on Target Media Group.
I'm actively vetting this article, just so people know that we're not trying. What was it? The Boston Times that we don't just.
I'm never
generally and for the most part, we don't just put out crap without checking it.
I am never going to live that down.
No, you're not.
20 years as a journalist. One time.
one little slip up and putting up a porn site. What the hell?
But that was below the fold. I looked above the fold. You know what I'm saying?
That's what you keep saying.
Okay, fine. We're going to close. That's it. I'm done. You see, I have control. I can back us out of this thing. When I get back into the corner, I just shut it down.
He gets defensive like a dog.
Yeah. We'd like to thank the Chicago Crusader and J. Coyden Palmer for being our guest this evening, and you for taking the time to listen tonight, and we'd appreciate if you tell your friends about On Target Radio.
We'd also like to thank our engineer and announcer, Eric Allen, and our sponsors, the Will County chapter of the Illinois State Rifle Association, Yellow Checker of Joliet, My Editor Creative Business Services, the Aurora Sportsman's Club, and Safer USA.
And we may be getting close to needing to actually advertise this thing a little bit. What do you think?
I think we're past close.
Thank you for your emotional support on that one. We need to, I don't know. This is
if you wanted emotional support, going with the German Irish American is probably not
that's
your
probably
best
a bad choice.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, we'll be back, and we hope that you'll be back next week when we'll be covering more red meat issues
that affect your life.